welcome to Badge Banter, where we feature incredible stories from some of our awesome partners and customers about the photo ID and its importance as the foundation of an organization's overall security efforts. I'm Lindsay Martinez from Badge Pass, and today we have Dameion Brown from Jackson State University as our guest. Hey, Dameion.
How you doing?
Thanks for being here. We're filming in person at our office, which is great. Dameion, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at Jackson State and what you do there?
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Information Security and the Chief Information Security Officer. And so just over the time that I have and the time that I've been working as a security professional, it's physical security, risk mitigation, and then cybersecurity as well. So, I use that and I bring that to the game. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, we wanted to have Dameion on because I actually have known him for years from our local as is chapter.
Right.
But we wanted to have him on because I think you really bring a unique perspective to both the physical side of security as well as cyber. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about the role that you feel like ID plays and how those two aspects of security kind of play together from an organization perspective?
So, like ID, of course, you've got to definitely have your ID to identify who you are and, are you a part of the organization? Can somebody really, do a non-intrusive screening of you by your badge and everything? And then also it plays a different role in just some of the stuff that I do because as I work out of the Division of Information Technology and at a small institution, we are responsible for all of it. So like the locks on classrooms, gates, and payment systems, and using whatever, we have to do that. And then nowadays with everything going on in the landscape, you got to make those things secure, and you got to have those controls in place. And so we're constantly talking to public safety. We're constantly talking to staff, faculty, constantly talking to the cabinet about just different things, whether it's physical or cybersecurity. So, yeah.
Awesome. How important do you think it is, maybe not necessarily in a college environment or university where you've got tons of people like in and out of the campus all the time, but in other types of verticals, how important is it, do you think, that people wear a physical badge for identification purposes?
That's the quickest way. Could it be like could you have someone impersonate, a person? Sure. But that is one of the most quickest ways to help see if you're in the right place at the right time. There's a lot of people that just don't understand that. And man, I'm thinking about this crazy story. And this crazy story was that because people were not wearing their badges at the office versus wearing it out in public, they were trying to get away and do away with badges. And so I'm like, you don't do away with a badge. That's like the universal way to identify who is who and, where somebody is and where somebody comes. And so, it's really a pivotal thing, to have. So
I think it's from a security perspective for sure, but also, I think it creates like a sense of community and belonging to an organization as well, where everybody, what's the first thing that people post like on LinkedIn when they get a new job or leave an old job? They're always like, this is my first badge, and like throw back to my first ID photo.
Right.
And so I think there's a little bit of that like community and nostalgia around it too, which is cool. And something that we take for granted for sure. So since you've got such a unique perspective from multiple facets of security, what trends do you see kind of taking place in the security industry right now, or new technologies that you see coming?
Oh man, so that's vast. Now on the cybersecurity side, like social engineering and phishing, like somebody saying they're somebody when they're not. That's constantly there, and that's always going to be there. But some of the trends that I've seen is actually kind of circumventing multi-factor authentication, right? And that's kind of one of the reasons why me and you talk, or me and you, I wanted to come on here, is to kind of talk about that. I've seen trends in multi-factor authentication where people can circumvent multi-factor authentication on the cybersecurity side with something called a evil proxy, so something that they use to pass through. But then other things are just people impersonating who they say they are, and it gets so deep as people impersonating a whole steering committee or a whole executive committee. And the only person that's really valid is the one person like entering into this whole thing. So, those types of things, happen. So those are some of the trends that I've seen, just out there and, in my job. And those things actually can circumvent because it's social engineering. So it doesn't matter if it's cybersecurity or whether it's physical, right? Somebody pulls up to a gate and buzzes in, and the dispatcher on the other end, they're like, "Hey, I'm so and so. I'm supposed to be here anyway," and like, I'm gonna let you in. So just social engineering, phishing, still the just number one thing.
If you were gonna pick one thing that an organization could do to help minimize that risk to their facility, assume that they don't have just infinite sums of money to throw at this, but what would be one thing somebody could do today? It could be super small, but could help prevent that.
You know what? In my line of work, there's a paradigm, and people that I work with are tired of me saying it, but people, process, and technology. The technology part's on the last end, right? You put a man on the moon, so the technology is always going to be there, but the people and process, the things that you can do to verify who is supposed to be in your organization, whether it's on a network, whether it's physically in your space, how can you quickly verify that? And a lot of times you don't have to throw a lot of money in processes because the process will be lined out and help you efficiently verify who it is. Because that's at the name of the game. That's identity access management, and the game that you're in and the game that I'm in is, how can you verify who's supposed to be there physically or on a network?
So I guess training. Start with your people,
and then
tell them what to do, help them feel good about the systems you've got in place.
There you go. That's another thing. Training is a big deal. Training is so big deal, and that coupled with the people and the process aspect of it, and you pretty much got it, squared away.
Well, it's that easy. That's all we got to do. Just all those things. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was fun to have you on.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, that is it for today's Badge Banter. We hope you'll join us next time as we take you beyond the badge.